Okay, let's talk about the theater we all live in. I was looking at my phone last night, just scrolling like a zombie. You know that feeling when your thumb is just moving on its own. And I saw all these perfect lives. Everyone is traveling, everyone is eating amazing food, everyone is so freaking happy. And then I looked up. I looked around my room. It was messy. I was tired. I felt, I don't know, small? And that's the noise I'm talking about. It's not just sound, it's the constant, loud screaming of other people's lives in your face. We've turned our existence into a performance. We don't just eat a meal anymore, we document it. We don't just go on vacation, we create content. But okay, think about this. When was the last time you did something, anything, just for you? Without thinking about how it would look on a screen, without thinking about the likes. It's like we're living in a glass house and everyone is watching, and we're so busy cleaning the windows that we've forgotten to actually live inside the house. We're exhausted because we're playing a character 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a marathon that has no finish line. And that's why the silent void is so terrifying. Because when the screen goes black, when the notifications stop, the audience leaves. And you're left with you. Just you. And for a lot of us, that's a stranger we haven't talked to in years. I remember talking to a friend. He told me he couldn't sleep without the TV on. I asked him why. He said, because if it's quiet, I start thinking, and I don't like where my thoughts go. That's it. That's the whole thing right there. We use the noise to drown out the truth. We use the hustle to hide the hollow feeling in our chests. We're so busy becoming someone that we've completely forgotten how to just be. But listen, it's okay. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to stop. The world isn't going to end if you don't post for a week. Your friends won't forget you if you don't reply in 5 seconds. The void, it's not a hole you fall into. It's a basement. And yeah, it's dark. And yeah, it's dusty. But that's where all your stuff is. Your real stuff. Your dreams. Your weird hobbies. Your actual personality. So what if we just stopped? Just for a second. What if we let the silence in? So, let's get into the heavy stuff. Have you ever looked at yourself? I mean, really looked at yourself and realized you're just waiting. Waiting for the weekend, waiting for the promotion, waiting for, I don't know, someday. We've all got this someday version of ourselves, right? Someday I'll start that project. Someday I'll travel. Someday I'll finally be happy. But here's the thing. The noise, the constant busy noise we've been talking about, it's the perfect excuse. It keeps someday forever in the future. Because as long as you're busy, you don't have to face the fact that you're not actually moving. It's like, okay, imagine you're on a treadmill. You're sweating, your heart is racing, you're exhausted, but you're in the exact same spot you were an hour ago. That's what our lives have become, a high-speed treadmill of nothing. And then you stop. You hit the button. The belt slows down, everything goes quiet. And suddenly, you feel the weight of it. You feel the static. Your brain starts screaming, "Get back on! You're losing time. Everyone is passing you." But wait, passing you to go where? To another treadmill? This is where the silent void gets real. It's where you realize that someday is a lie we tell ourselves so we don't have to change today. In the silence, you can't hide behind your to-do list anymore. You can't hide behind your job title. You're just a human being, a fragile, weird, beautiful human being sitting in a quiet room. And that's terrifying. I remember sitting in a park a few weeks ago. I didn't have my phone. I'd forgotten it at home. Total accident. And for the first 15 minutes, I felt like I was naked. I felt exposed. But then I started looking at the people, really looking at them. And I saw it. The same treadmill face. Everyone was looking at their palms, their thumbs moving like crazy. Their eyes were just gone. They weren't in the park. They were somewhere else. And I thought, man, we're missing it. We're missing the actual, messy, quiet beauty of being alive because we're so obsessed with capturing it or improving it. The void, it's not a place of death. It's the place where life actually starts. It's where you decide that today is enough, that you are enough. You don't need another hack. You don't need another routine. You just need to be. Let's talk about the recovery. Once you get past the panic, once you survive those first few minutes of wanting to scream because it's too quiet, something weird happens. The air feels, thicker? Like you can actually feel it on your skin. You start to hear things, not just noises, but rhythms. Your own breathing, the house settling, the wind outside. It's like the world has been in mute this whole time and someone finally turned the volume up. But the most important thing you hear, it's not out there, it's in here. When the noise of the world stops, the boss, the news, the influencers, you finally get to hear your own internal compass. We spend so much time listening to what they want us to do. They say we need a better car. They say we need to be more assertive. They say we're falling behind. But in the silent void, they don't exist. In the silence, there's only you. And you might realize maybe you don't actually want that promotion. Maybe you're just tired. Maybe you actually miss drawing or playing the guitar or just walking in the rain without a goal. I'll tell you something a bit personal. I used to be terrified of being irrelevant. I thought if I didn't stay busy, I'd just fade away like a ghost. But the silence taught me something different. It taught me that being relevant to everyone else is the fastest way to become irrelevant to yourself. You lose your core. You lose that spark that makes you, you. The void is where you find it again. It's like finding an old toy in the attic that you forgot you ever loved. You pick it up, you dust it off, and you realize, oh, wait, this is me. This is who I was before the world told me who I should be. It's not about self-improvement. I'm so tired of that word. Improvement, like you're a piece of software that needs an update. You're not a computer. You're a human being. You don't need to be improved. You need to be remembered. And the only way to remember is to shut up, to sit down, and to listen. Not to a podcast, not to a book, but to the silence. To the silence. Let's be real about what actually happens when you sit down to be quiet. Because it's not all, zen and peaceful. Actually, for most of us, it's a total disaster at first. You sit there, you close your eyes, you think, okay, I'm doing the silent void thing. I'm being deep. And then within 10 seconds, your brain starts acting like a frantic monkey in a cage. Shh. No. It starts shouting at you. Did I lock the front door? Wait, what did that guy mean by that email yesterday? Oh man, I really want pizza. Am I wasting my life? I'm definitely wasting my life. It's what they call the monkey mind. And man, it's loud. It's so loud that you want to jump out of your skin. You want to reach for your phone just to make it stop. You want to check your notifications just to feel normal again. But here's the thing. That noise, that chaos, that's not new. It's been there the whole time. You just didn't notice it because you were too busy running. It's like living next to a train station. After a while, you stop hearing the trains, but as soon as the station closes, the silence makes you realize how loud it actually was. Shh. No. This is the part where most people quit, stop. They say, oh, silence isn't for me, it makes me anxious. But listen, the anxiety isn't from the silence. The anxiety is from the life you've been living, and the silence is just the first time you're actually, well, feeling it. It's like, okay, imagine you've been walking on a broken leg for years, but you've been taking so many painkillers that you didn't feel the bone grinding. When you stop taking the pills, when you stop the noise, it's gonna hurt. Of course it's gonna hurt. Shh. No. But you have to feel the pain to heal the bone. In the silent void, you're finally off the meds. You're finally feeling the reality of your own mind. And yeah, it's messy. It's full of weird thoughts and old regrets and what ifs. But if you stay, if you just sit there and let the monkey scream until it gets tired, something amazing happens. The monkey eventually falls asleep, and for the first time in maybe 10, 20 years, you're actually alone. And it's not scary. It's kind of beautiful. I remember this one afternoon. I was so overwhelmed. My head was spinning. I felt like I was failing at everything, and I went into a room, sat on the floor, and told myself, I'm not leaving until the noise stops. I sat there for 40 minutes of pure mental torture. But then, in the 41st minute, it just clicked. The void opened up, and I realized all those things I was worried about, they weren't me. They were just weather. Storms passing through a sky that is actually always blue. You are the sky, not the storm. But you'll never know that if you keep running through the rain. Okay, let's talk about the big one, success, trophy emoji. What does that even mean anymore? No, really, think about it. Brain emoji. We're told from the day we're born that success is a ladder. You climb, you climb, you climb. You get the grades, you get the job, you get the car, you get the house. And then what? You're supposed to feel full? But why is it that the people at the top of the ladder are often the most, exhausted, the most empty? Broken heart emoji. Mask emoji, eye roll emoji. It's because the ladder is standing in the middle of a hurricane of noise. We're so busy climbing that we never ask if the ladder is leaning against the right wall. In the silent void, that ladder, it just disappears. No entry sign, ladder emoji. And that's what scares people. Because if you aren't climbing, then what are you doing, right? You're losing, you're falling behind. Person running emoji, dashing away emoji. Shh. Dark moon emoji, thought bubble emoji. But listen, I've spent time with people who have everything, the money, the fame, the perfect life. And you know what they tell me when the cameras are off, when it's just us? They tell me they're lonely. They tell me they feel like they're wearing a mask that's too tight. Japanese God emoji. They're successful by every noise standard, but they're failing in the silence. Shh. Candle emoji, brain emoji. I think we've got it all backwards. Recycling emoji. Real success, the kind that actually lets you sleep at night, it's not about how much you can accumulate, it's about how much you can let go of. It's about being able to sit in a quiet room and not feel like you're missing out on anything. It's about looking at your life and saying, I am enough, right here, right now, without the titles, without the applause. Person meditating emoji, sparkles emoji. Shh, dark moon emoji, thought bubble emoji. I remember this guy I met once. He was a simple carpenter, wood emoji. He didn't have a big social media following. He didn't have a fancy title. But when he worked, he was in it. He was quiet. He was present. He wasn't thinking about the next job or the next paycheck. He was just being. He had more peace in his little finger than most CEOs have in their entire bank accounts. Money bag emoji, no entry sign. That's what the silence gives you. It gives you back your perspective. Compass emoji, sparkles emoji, person meditating emoji. It shows you that the race you've been running, it's a ghost race. There is no finish line. There is no prize at the end that's going to make you feel whole. You're already whole. You just forgot. Brain emoji, red heart emoji. The void, it's like a car wash for your soul. Shower emoji, sparkles emoji. It strips away all the mud, all the dirt, all the requirements the world has piled on you. And what's left? The real you, the one that's been waiting for you to stop running so it could finally catch its breath. Wind emoji, person meditating emoji, sparkles emoji, red heart emoji. So ask yourself, are you climbing the ladder or are you just afraid to stand on the ground? Shh. Wind emoji, sunrise emoji.
So let's talk about the people in our lives. Have you ever sat across from someone you love, your partner, your best friend, your parents, and realized that even though you're there, you're not there? Your body is in the chair. You're nodding, you're saying yeah and but your mind? Your mind is back on that email, or it's wondering if your last post got any more likes, or it's planning what you have to do tomorrow morning. We've become efficient at relationships. We check in on people. We send a quick text, "How are you?" But do we actually want to know, or are we just checking a box so we can get back to our own noise? This is the saddest part of the time thief. It doesn't just steal your time, it steals your presence. In the silent void, you start to realize how lonely you've been, even when you're surrounded by people. Because real connection, it requires silence. It requires you to shut down the internal monologue long enough to actually hear what the other person is saying. Not just their words, but the space between the words, the look in their eyes, the way their voice cracks when they're talking about something that hurts. I remember visiting my grandfather a few years back. He was old and he moved slowly and he didn't say much. I was so busy back then. I kept looking at my watch. I kept thinking, okay, I'll stay for 20 minutes, then I have to go finish that project. But he just sat there, in his garden, in the silence. And after a while, because I had nothing else to do, I just sat with him. I stopped looking at the watch. I stopped the internal to-do list. And for the first time in my life, I actually met him. We didn't even talk that much. We just existed in the same space. That afternoon taught me more about success than any book I've ever read. Success isn't being known by millions, it's being present for one. It's being able to look someone in the eye and let them know that in this moment, nothing in the world is more important than them. But you can't do that if you're terrified of the silence. Because silence is where intimacy lives. It's the bridge between two souls. And when we're afraid of the void, we're actually afraid of being seen. We're afraid that if we stop talking, if we stop the hustle, the people we love will see that we're just as lost as they are. But guess what? That's where the love starts, in the shared lostness, in the quiet realization that none of us have the answers. The silence is what allows us to put down the character and just be friends, just be family. So next time you're with someone, try to unplug the noise in your head. Try to enter the void together. Why are we so obsessed with being busy? I mean, really, what's the big secret? I think it's because if we stop, we might have to make a choice. See, as long as you're running, you don't have to decide where you're going. The momentum just carries you. You're just a leaf in a storm. It's chaotic, sure. It's exhausting, but it's safe in a weird way because you aren't responsible for the direction. But in the silent void, the wind stops. And suddenly, you're just standing there in the middle of a quiet field, and you realize, oh, I have to choose which way to walk now. That is the most terrifying moment in a human life, the moment of personal responsibility. We use the noise as a way to avoid our own power. We act like we're victims of our schedules. Oh, I have so much work. Oh, I'm so stressed. But let's be honest. We choose the stress. We choose the noise because the alternative is having to face the next step. What if the next step is leaving that job? What if it's ending that relationship? What if it's finally starting that thing you're actually passionate about, but you're terrified of failing at? In the silence, you can't hide from your own potential anymore. You start to realize that the only thing standing between you and the life you actually want is the noise you're using to distract yourself. I remember this one night. I was staring at a blank screen. I had 0 notifications. No one was calling, no one was emailing. I felt this void opening up. And my first instinct was to go find some noise, go watch a video, go check a news site, anything to fill the gap. But I stayed. I sat there. And in that quiet, a voice, my real voice, said, "You're doing this because you're afraid you aren't good enough." Brutal, honest truth that the noise had been hiding for years. And you know what? Once the truth was out, the fear started to go away. Because you can't fight a ghost in the dark, but once you turn on the light of silence, you see exactly what you're dealing with. It wasn't a monster, it was just a step. The void is where you find your yes. Not the yes you say to your boss because you're afraid, not the yes you say to social obligations, but the yes you say to your own soul. So, I want to ask you something. If all the noise stopped right now, forever, which way would you walk?
Here we are. We've walked through the panic, we've looked at the theater we all live in, we've faced the monkey mind and the success myth, and now it's just us again. Shh. I want you to take a second, right now, wherever you are, whether you're driving or washing the dishes or lying in bed. Just listen to the space around you. Shh. Candle. That void we started with, the one that felt so scary and empty, look at it again. Night sky. It's not a hole, it's a womb. It's where everything new begins. It's the silence before the first note of a song. It's the blank page before the masterpiece. It's the breath you take before you say, "I love you." Green heart. Shh. Brain. We're so afraid of being empty, but you can't fill a cup that's already full of noise. Coffee cup, no sign. You have to empty it first. You have to let go of the busyness, the stress, and the expectations. You have to be nothing for a moment, so you can finally be someone. Shh. Sparkles. Night sky. I'm going to stop talking in a minute. Zipper mouth. And when I do, I want you to resist the urge to click on the next video. I want you to resist the urge to check your phone. Mobile phone X. Just for 2 minutes. Give yourself 2 minutes of pure, unfiltered silence. Hourglass. Shh. Ah. Thought bubble. In those 2 minutes, you might feel that itch again. You might feel the panic, anxious face. But stay there. Stay in the void. Because on the other side of that panic is peace, yogi stands, sparkles. A peace that doesn't depend on your bank account, a peace that doesn't care about your job title, a peace that is just you. Shh. Red heart. I'll tell you one last thing. The world is always going to be loud. Earth globe, explosion. It's never going to stop screaming at you to be more, to do more, to have more. But you have the mute button. It's right there, inside your chest. Control knob, green heart. Whenever the world gets too much, whenever the noise starts to blur your vision, just come back here. Come back to the silence. Come back to the void. Night sky, sparkles. Yogi stands, sparkles. Red heart. Because that's where the truth is. That's where the magic is. And most importantly, that's where you are. Shh. Wind. Check mark. Thank you for walking with me today. Now just be. Shh. Ah. Sunrise. Check mark.